Hi, I'm John Sullivan with 401k Specialist. I'm here on the floor of the Fi360 conference in San Diego, and I'm joined by a man who needs no introduction, but I'm going to do so anyway, Fred Reish with Biddle. And there's a lot going on right now when it comes to fiduciary and everything that's happening with the SEC. I think when we spoke last year, it was DOL. This year, SEC. What's happening right now at this point with the SEC rule?
Well, the last Wednesday, they issued a proposed rule. In fact, 3 proposals. The one that's the most interesting is called Regulation Best Interest.
Right.
And it establishes a standard of care for broker-dealer advisors, and it also establishes a system for dealing with conflicts of interest for broker-dealer advisors. And although you shouldn't say advisors anymore, because another part of the package says that representatives of a broker-dealer shouldn't use advisor, financial advisor, investment advisor, unless they're operating under the RIA.
Does this harken back to the old Merrill rule? Is that what they're saying here, trying to separate titles?
I think the separation of titles is based more on a study that showed confusion in the minds of customers, retail customers, and they just want to stop the confusion because they want to say that typically with an investment advisor you have an ongoing relationship where they make recommendations or they manage your account and then they monitor for a fee. And the view of the rules and in the aggregate is that a representative of a broker-dealer, on the other hand, makes a transactional recommendation. And then once that's implemented, it has no ongoing duty.
That's it, huh?
There's no duty to monitor. And they're trying to create a distinction in the minds of the public between those two scenarios.
Understood. Okay. Yeah, and I know I cut you off there. I apologize. I didn't mean to do so. So we were talking about the 3 different levels there. So you had the second one was what you were just talking about in terms of advisor versus advisor where we can. Right. What was the other one? Sorry.
Well, actually, just to run through the 3, the first one's called Regulation Best Interest. That creates the best interest standard of care for broker-dealer representatives and how conflicts are to be managed. Now, the second one is a package of disclosures, and that includes the advisor, the use of the advisor designation. But it also includes other disclosures that are designed to distinguish between the roles of an investment advisor versus a broker-dealer. Right. The third one is just a compilation or a summary of the existing rules regulating RIAs, registered investment advisors. And the idea there is to consolidate in one place the rules that govern standard of care of investment advisors and the conflicts of interest. So all of it is sort of to say, okay, this is the rule. This is what an investment advisor is and the rules that govern their conduct. This is what a broker-dealer is and the rules that govern their conduct. And then here's how we're going to help people distinguish between the two. Yeah.
At this point, I mean, are we ever going to see a fiduciary rule either from the SEC or DOL? I know Blaine was talking about it, that might not have ever happened, and that might not be a bad thing. I mean, what is your outlook?
The chairman of the SEC, Chairman Clayton, has said there's too much emotion attached now to the word fiduciary, that some people think it's wonderful, other people think it's awful, and that you can't have a good conversation if you throw the word fiduciary into the mix. Right. You can't get everybody to the table to talk about it. Having said that, there's that old saying, a rose by any other name. If you look at the regulation best interest and the standard of care it imposes on broker-dealers, other than the fact that it's transaction-based, it does impose a fiduciary standard of care.
Yeah.
So I'm not hung up on the use of the word fiduciary. I mean, I'm from the ERISA side, and I've been pulled over into IRAs and now into the SEC.
Sure.
But I'm not, even though it comes from my side of the world predominantly, or let me say the most defined standard is, there's also of course a fiduciary standard already for RIAs, a little less well defined, but important nonetheless. So if they don't use the word fiduciary with broker-dealers, I'm not upset about that. I think that the rules through this package, through this SEC package, and what I believe will be a DOL follow-on package, both of which I think will become implemented in roughly January 1, 2020. Okay. Just a guess, an educated guess, but a guess. Yeah. I think that it's going to bring them close enough together that 5 or 10 more years down the line, it's possible that they're so close together that the word fiduciary could be introduced without all the baggage it has right now.
Along with it. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That is exactly what we needed. Fred, great as always. Fred Reish, Biddle. So
thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Once again, I'm John Sullivan, 401k Specialist.